Yo! Video games.
We're here to talk about our opinions on an anime, which, as we all know, anime fans are the most calm and rational people with their fandoms in existence. Right? Like, we know that if you wanted to join any fandom, there's no fandom more welcoming and wholesome and rational and level-headed than anime fans, right? Yeah. Yes. Oh, man. No, there's no such thing as a good fandom. It's always weird to me when someone gets into Xenoblade and they're like, "Oh, the Xeno community's so wholesome and welcoming," and I'm just like, "Yeah, let's not talk about let's not talk about some of those fans who are only fans of 2 for reasons." But yeah, we have plenty of our own dipshits in 2's fandom. But yeah, and 2's my favorite game. God damn it. And here I am already deflecting, talking about One Piece, to talk about Xenoblade 2. Slowly close the curtain on weird fans. But yes, I am through East Blue, which is up to 61 on One Piece. So I guess this is literally the halfway point, because I said I would watch to the end of Alabasta. Alabastra? I don't know. One of the two. I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm not sure of the spelling. So yeah, the deal was I would watch 100 episodes of One Piece. Muffin was going to play the Xenoblade trilogy on easy, just crit path it, story only, like story for story. I don't know why I made this deal. So, yeah. Anyways, but also I looked at that and I was like, well, does episode 100 end on an arc? Because animes are in arcs, and it doesn't. It's in it's in the middle of Alabasta, is it Alabasta or Alabastra? Is it Stra or Sta? I don't know. Alabasta. Okay, it's Alabasta. So, and I found out episode 100 is not the end of Alabasta. It's like the middle of Alabasta, and I was like, well, let me finish Alabasta. Let me at least finish it. I don't want to just watch 100 episodes and then leave there. So I was like, I'll finish it. When does Alabasta end? It ends around 120. All right, I'll do 120. So yeah, I'm gonna watch to the end of Alabasta. So I'm literally at the halfway point. And to summarize, because I'm a boomer anime fan, right? Like, the first anime I ever saw was Superbook. Technically, the first anime I ever watched was Superbook. Most of you will be like, "What the fuck is a Superbook?" That's okay. the first anime I ever watched, aware that it was an anime, I believe, was Ghost in the Shell, the 90s movie. And the first anime I ever saw and was like, what the fuck is that? That looks incredible. I need to watch this. I was in a Borders as a teenager, and I was looking through movie review books, because this is pre-internet. Internet existed, but very few people had it in 96, 97. I went to a Borders, would ride there on my bike, and I'd go into the media section and I'd read books about movies, because I had a extremely religious mother at the time, and was not allowed to watch a lot of stuff. There was so much stuff I couldn't watch. So I would go to a Borders and I'd read books, read reviews. I'd read, like Ebert's, archived reviews, from Chicago Tribune and stuff like that. And anyway, so I was looking through a movie book, a movie guide book, and I saw a picture from Princess Mononoke. I'm like, what the fuck is that? That looks incredible. Wow, 1981. Shut up. I'm not that old. It's probably when Superbook came out, but that's not when I watched it. But not far off. I was Making Mary just subscribed. Okay. Making merry, not going merry. Anyways, so yeah. Anyways, like I think the first anime I saw aware what it like an anime is an anime. I believe was Ghost in the Shell. It might have been Prince Mononoke. I do remember I literally was seeking out a video recording of Princess Mononoke for like a year. So it may have Mononoke might have been the first one because I remember I watched it on a VHS. I found it at a Hollywood Video. I rented it from there. I got into One Piece later. There you go. Playing 7 and watching Mononoke back to back must have been something special. Well, I didn't. Again, it took me a year to find a VHS copy of Princess Mononoke, and it was only for rental at Hollywood Video. And I literally had to get in touch with my best friend, whose parents had a Hollywood Video membership, so I could go and rent it. And that was incredible. Unfortunately, when your first exposure to anime is Princess fucking Mononoke, and like Ghost in the Shell, most other things kind of fall flat in comparison. Unfortunately, I did get to see Akira in theaters for a re-release, and I thought it was very good, but I felt like the story was kind of all over the place and sort of abruptly ends. So I always was like, the story of Akira, like, the animation's mind-blowingly good in Akira, like, mind-boggling. The setting is incredible. But, like, the story is a little messy in Akira. And, frankly, there's reasons for that. Because it was a story that wasn't even finished when they made the movie. So the movie's all production. And the writing does suffer because the author wasn't even fucking done with his own story. It looks insane. Akira's really cool, but it's... the story's not really there because it wasn't finished. Nausicaa's a little bit the same way, but Nausicaa's a much more... well, Nausicaa it does have a beginning, middle, end. It ends, even though Miyazaki himself doesn't like the ending too much. Like, it's a finished film because Miyazaki is Miyazaki. And Akira, as good as it is, didn't quite have that level of director finesse. Like, I forget who... Katsuhiko Otomo or whatever, who directed Akira. Like, he's obviously very good, but like him and the writers, like, they couldn't come up with a super satisfying way to finish third act Akira. Happens in a lot of anime. And again, I'm deflecting here because I'm not talking about One Piece. So anyways, I'm just saying that I've been around the block when it comes to anime. I've been watching anime consistently since the very late 90s. I started watching anime technically in the 80s. Fuck, I'm old. Ninja Scroll was like the second or third anime I ever saw. Cowboy Bebop is the greatest anime TV show I've ever seen. We'll come back to Cowboy Bebop, fortunate for Bebop, unfortunate for this, but yeah, I've never really gone through a long form anime. Like, the most I ever watched of an anime was 54 episodes, I think, of Inuyasha. And then right around literally like episode 54, I was like, this is never ending. I'm fucking done. And I just walked away. And so when I started this One Piece thing, whatever, I think at the beginning of the year, or maybe it was last year. I don't remember. Maybe we were coming up on a year for this One Piece shit. Space Cobra. There you go. I've never watched it, but anyways, sometime earlier this year, after I'd started watching One Piece and was like trudging through One Piece, started watching Macadamia Nut, and I watched 100 episodes of Macadamia Nut, like really fast within like a month or something. Like within a month, I watched like 100 episodes of Macadamia Nut, which is already kind of telling you how slow, like, because it's not, Macadamia Nut's by not the greatest anime ever or anything, but it knows how to pace itself. It knows how to like keep things going, which is weird to say, because I know it's like a shonen anime and whatever, but like, so anyways, I'm all the way, I'm through East Blue now. I'm finally through East Blue, and frankly, the singular word I would use to describe One Piece for someone who, like, if you're like me and you're like, you know of One Piece, everyone knows about One Piece through osmosis or whatever at this point. Frustrating. Frustrating is the word I would use to describe One Piece from East Blue, because it's not bad. Bad would be unfair to One Piece. But frustrating, because for one, I mean, there's obvious things which are a little out of the series' hands right now. The animation is terrible, like really cheap, really corner cut, really bad animation in East Blue. And the other thing is the pacing is terrible. And they're stretching stuff. And they stretch stuff. At first, they stretch stuff for a little too long. And then they start stretching stuff way too long. Although, to be fair, I think the only time that things felt way too stretched was Arlong Park. Going through Arlong Park was like, you are stretching this way too long. This could have been cut in a fourth. And the rest of the time, it's like it's a little frustrating because East Blue is a Sanji arc. I don't know if I'd call it a Sanji arc. Sanji had an arc, and that was pretty stretched out but they had like multiple things going on because they had Don Krieg, coming in starving into the restaurant, and then Mihawk came in for a little bit, and then so there was multiple plot threads going on at once with Sanji's sort of arc where he eventually decides to join the crew or whatever. And frustrating is how I would describe this show. Because it feels like with the right editor, with the right animation studio, this maybe would be okay to pretty good. Thank you, Andrew. I'm not even on YouTube, so I know it's kind of blaring. It's kind of blasting. Do I have a favorite character? I'm actually, if anything, I'm getting to that. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves about favorite characters and stuff here, but frustrating because I feel like this is a shonen show technically, but it's not very shonen, and that's a good thing in my book. I don't really like shonen shows. I don't like shonen style at all, and this is the most non-shonen, which is good. I like the setting, generally speaking. I obviously pirates and sailing and nice environments and all that shit. I like the setting. The setting is good. The characters are. I feel like they try a little too hard to make the characters quirky but charming. Like that's kind of like the thing with One Piece is we only have what 5 main characters now. We have like the main crew. You have Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, Usopp, and Nami. We don't even have Chopper yet. We don't have Frankie, Jinbei, Brook, whatever. We don't Robin. We don't even have like the mascot character yet, right? We just have like the main 5 right now, and the whole thing plays out like a JRPG. And they try really hard to make everyone quirky but charming, and I think to a fault in a sense. It is right now. It's kind of hard to be a huge fan of Luffy. He's just kind of an aloof asshole. He's well-meaning. He's a good person, but he's just so fucking. He's not dumb. He just doesn't fucking pay attention to anything. He just kind of sits there and he's just completely ignoring everything going on, and then just decides to go randomly do some shit. To a point that it's almost like it's not like a similar thing would be in Western / Korean would be like Aang. He just wants to go ride different animals around the world. He's not really concerned about the goings on of the world, right? But very, very, very quickly into that show, he gets within 5 episodes, 5-6 episodes, it's like shit hits the fan for him, and he kind of fucking realizes he needs to buckle up. Um, and so Luffy's kind of just like this. He's well-meaning, but he's just kind of like, okay, he's just like this completely aloof a-hole. But like he means well. He helps out. He helps out like people who need help. That's good. Usopp is like, I don't know why Usopp needs to freak out over everything. Like it's this comedic choice to make Usopp always going like constantly. To a point where I'm like, we get it, okay? Like he gets shocked at everything. All right, we fucking get it. Like they play out the characters. It's almost like a catchphrase for Usopp to just be like jaw agape, like. They play that out so much that it loses its impact and meaning. So like there's like in like Zoro is kind of Zoro's my favorite character because he's the least annoying. Nami is the only one who's had any serious arc. Every character seems to have a very similar backstory where they have some event, some tragic event or some life-altering event in there when they were really young. There was some mentor figure that really inspired them, and then then through like coming out of whatever tragic event in their past because of some mentor figure they look up to, they're going to go they are going to surpass them. I'm going to be the best chef, I'm going to be the best swordsman, I'm going to be the king of the pirates. Like they all have this almost the same literal beat for beat like backstory in a way, which is a little bit it kind of again it's kind of like it feels like a magician pulling the same rabbit out of a hat multiple times, where it's kind of like, okay, like all right, Luffy had this thing in the past and he looked up to Shanks, and then like some event happened and Shanks lost his arm saving Luffy, and Shanks is king of the pirates. Luffy's going to be king of the pirates. He's going to surpass Shanks as like as his mentor. Sanji with the cook when he got stranded on the island, and Zoro with the girl who was like the daughter of the swordsman dojo, and they all kind of like have this thing. Nami's is a little different. I think Nami's is like the standout. Like the singular best episode was the flashback episode detailing the life of the woman who raised Nami and her sister, because it was a full complete episode that didn't drag and they didn't like stretch it. So and a lot of what I guess a lot of what I'm getting to here is that One Piece feels like everything I do with every time I watch this anime, it's always like I should have read the manga. But I tried to barter into that, but no. Like have to watch the anime, have to hear the music, have to have the emotional crescendos that go along with the audio visual of the anime. And the music is good, but it is repeated. It's not like they have a temp orchestral score that they basically use and reuse through all 61 episodes. So, and it's good, but it's also like, okay, sometimes it hits a little bit. Gonna miss Sammy, yeah. But sound effects the same now. I don't mind the sound effects being the same now, but like there's like this sort of like sweeping orchestral like music anytime something like sort of like inspirational happens. Like they kind of just like, it's almost like play this, this music would be played here. The music would be played here. There's like an orchestral version of the first theme song, which it changed. It went from like We Are to like this super Eurobeat song. Halfway through the East Blue arc. So yeah, it's mostly just like this. I'm in this sort of quagmire where I don't think this is bad, but I think this is really not living up to its potential, and I really don't. I'm really at this point like I still don't understand why this anime has the fandom it does. I don't necessarily need to understand it. I don't know why kids love Five Nights at Freddy's that much, or Skibidi Boobity Bop Toilet Man, or Roblox, or whatever. I mean, actually, I kind of understand Roblox. There's things where like kid, chicken jockey stuff. It's like all beyond my time, and I'm always just like, yeah, let the kids have their fun. I don't understand it. I don't need to understand it. One Piece is one of those where I probably like. I don't understand it, but let the kids have their fun. But yeah, I'm still kind of like. For me, it's very much I still don't know where does it kick in, like, oh, this is the shit, you know what I mean? Where does it kick in where, like, this is like one of the, I have to keep up kind of thing? Because like season 1 of The Simpsons is rough, right? It's a rough first season. It's got some stuff going there. But season 2 and 3 is where Simpsons really kicks off and then becomes like, then it became the phenomenon that it is. And that happens plenty of times. The thing is I'm at episode fucking 62. Okay? I have watched 60 goddamn episodes of this anime. 60 fucking episodes. Longer than most TV shows in existence. And it's fine. It's fine. The animation is still crap. They haven't played new music in a while. And the characters are still kind of just the sort of one-note version. Like, Usopp is cowardly and freaks out a lot. Zoro is stoic and goes with the flow. Sanji kind of is too, in a weird way. Like, Luffy will not pay any attention to what's going on at all. So, welcome to One Stand Space. So there's a part of me that's like, I don't know when this is supposed to kick in, but I also am like, it should not have taken this long. In a weird sort of way, it almost is like Witcher 3 for me, because there's very little in the sense of like main plot. What is the main plot? Like, Luffy wants to be king of the pirates, and kind of going along with that, they want to go to the Grand Line. So after they got out of Arlong Park, it was like, okay, we're gonna go to the Grand Line. Oh, let's stop at Logue Town, get supplies, and this is the last town before the Grand Line. And then Luffy's like, oh, I'll see where Gold Roger was killed. That detours for like fucking 10 episodes, making a fucking pit stop somewhere so we can introduce Smoker, catch up on fucking Buggy, catch up on Alvida, like fucking introduce Daddy the parent, do all this shit, and then we fucking leave. And I was like, okay, well, there was like this huge detour in Logue Town. Oh, we find this girl in the water, and now we gotta go to Watership Park, and we gotta save the dragon. This is like where the last thing I watched. And then we got to introduce, oh god, it was a big ass fat guy, Royal something, and then Eric the Wind Man or whatever. It's like, okay, we were going to the Grand Line, and then we had this girl. Let's detour to water, or Warship Park, and then we're gonna help the fucking dragon get back to the dragon's nest, and then we're gonna go to this island, then we're gonna go back to that island, and then this is all gonna, and it's like, man, we just wanted to get to and all the Grand Line is just another fucking ocean, right? And then what is, and the thing is, like, the dragon arc, this dragon lord arc, or the dragon elixir arc, I don't know what you would even call it. It's a cute arc. It would have made a fine side movie. It's a very Ghibli-esque sort of a plot and thing where they go to like this abandoned island. It's ripping off Castle in the Sky almost wholesale. It's like, it's just like it's what happens when when less talented people rip off Ghibli. What do you get? You get this dragon arc. So it's like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I fucking know from just seeing the list, like, what's next? They're gonna get eaten by a fucking whale, I think, is what's next. Laboon, as everyone calls it. Laboon's gonna eat them, and they're gonna get eaten by a whale, and then this is gonna happen, and then that's gonna happen. And I don't even actually know when we're actually gonna get to the Grand Line, but they've also built up this whole thing about how, like, scary the Grand Line is and no one comes back from it and whatever. And it's probably going to be fucking open ocean. and they're going to run into islands with towns that have, and they're going to introduce a character. I don't know if it's the anime. I don't know if it's the source material. But everyone talks about the world building of One Piece. And the world building to me is, all right, I just fucking introduce a new character. I just fucking introduce a random new character at whim, like every episode or 2 episodes. And all I got to do is make sure it doesn't interfere with anything else, right? Like, Daddy the Parent was like this great example where it's like, all right, we're going to introduce Daddy the Parent in this episode. Who's Daddy? Oh, he was this fucking elite sniper in the Navy, and then he gave up because he wanted to support his daughter. Why did he support it? Because he had a duel with Yasop, who also got his drink handed to him by Shanks, and it's like, and then he's in that episode, and then he's fucking gone. I'm sure he'll show up again. I'm sure, but it's not like anyone ever said anything about like Daddy the Parent before, or any of the characters before. They just show up. Oh, I ate from the smoke tree, and I ate from the smooth tree, and I ate from the whisper tree, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, he has a devil power, she has a devil power, she has a devil fruit power. And there's never been a moment where they're like, how many devil fruits are there? That's not explained. Usually there's not a ton of foreshadowing one way or the other. But I know, like, Kobe was a good example where it's like, hey, here's this kid Kobe, and he wants to join the Navy, and Luffy helps him join the Navy, and let him go. Kobe's going to show back up again. Smoker's probably going to show back up again. I know a lot of these characters are going to show back up again. It doesn't feel like world building. It feels like he just adds shit and then takes it out of the plot and then reintroduces it later. Just make sure it doesn't, just double make sure it doesn't cross over itself. So the anime has this weird thing where it's like Monster of the Week. Almost. Except that we don't kill them. We put a pin in it. Like, okay, Luffy defeats Thing, and then later on, this character will show up somewhere later on. Where it's like, okay, we go to an island. There's a guy who lives inside a treasure chest, and he got stuck that way, and he just lives there, and then he's gone for a bunch of episodes. Then Buggy will run into him, like, however many episodes later. So it's like this. It's world building in a weird sort of like it's world building. It feels like world building as he's going along, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't feel like, oh, this was an insanely detailed, planned out, plotted out thing. It doesn't. The anime doesn't feel like it at all. The anime feels like shit is being made up as they go, and all they got to do is make sure it doesn't contradict itself. That's it. Which is honestly fine, but it also, the other problem here is that I don't even know what this anime is trying to do, because they keep, other when they do like specific flashback episodes, they keep most characters' history vague, and I think that's on purpose, and they're keeping the central plot kind of vague. Because I don't think they want to. I think there's this sort of, and maybe this is actually kind of the one. I could say, like, this is kind of genius. Like, he doesn't want to be pigeonholed into doing something. Like, obviously, there's the One Piece itself or whatever, which I'm still not convinced it's not going to be the friends we made along the way. But like, the central plot is Luffy wants to be king of the pirates. Sanji wants to find the All Blue. Zoro wants to become the world's greatest swordsman. Nami wants to become the world's greatest chartographer, sea charter. Usopp wants to be a brave warrior. That means basically nothing. The problem is that what the fuck does King of the Pirates even mean? Does that mean there's going to be an email sent out to all the other pirates like, hey, by the way, this guy's the king of the pirates? What does King of Pirates even mean? Like, the Gold Roger was the king of the pirates. Was he just what does that even fucking mean? Is it just like Luffy's just gonna be like, I'm the biggest, baddest pirate of all? I mean, I guess. I don't. How does one become king? What defines them as king? King of pirates. And the other one, and this is the thing that really pisses me off the most with the anime, is the Navy, which they all say Marine. There's Marine all over all their uniforms, and they keep calling them the Navy. And I'm like, guys, fucking pick one. But they've, I think, one time have they said world government. what is world government? How does this... I am 60 fucking episodes into this shit, and I don't know the basic geography of anything of where they're going, because they rarely show a map, and when they do, it's usually just of the immediate surrounding area. What does this world look like? What is the world government? How does it fucking operate? Is there a king? Is there a prime minister? Is there, who are the Marines? How are the Marines funded? How does any of this shit work? They communicate through snails, like typing through telepathy or some bullshit. But like, I am 60 fucking, and if there is an explanation about it at some point, great, whatever. I am 60 fucking episodes in. My criticism here is that I should not be this fucking far and long into an anime, and there's just this sort of nebulous army. Like, the Marines on the sea. Who are they? Who controls them? Because I still don't even really know who's really in control. Like, you have like lieutenants and generals and whatever, and you have people like Smoker, who kind of like, he's high up, but he also is not the highest, and he tells the others, like, I don't really care if you tell me what to do. I'm 60 episodes into this. I feel like I should have an understanding of how the world operates, like some example of it. But like, do them, or like, so if the Grand Line is this dangerous, mysterious sea that everyone fears and no one's ever come back from, does that mean that once the crew goes into the Grand Line, which apparently is soon, maybe, that there won't be any Marines anymore? Because that is literally what they built up. But the thing is, I fucking know we're going to go into the Grand Line, and we're just going to find towns, and there's going to be people living in those towns, and we're going to run into the fucking Marines. And it'll be this whole thing about like, oh, this Grand Line that nobody's ever come back from ever. It's this mysterious place full of death and destruction. Marines are just going to be fucking all over the place. They're going to be like a constant thorn in the side of the characters forever. Like, we're just gonna run into the Marines again. Like, I already know that's going to happen. I know it's not going to be like this, oh, things are going to be completely different when they get to the Grand Line. It's going to be this whole new world. No, it won't. No, it fucking won't. So, I mean, that's the part where I'm just kind of like, what is the world government? Like, who even are these people? How does the society function? Like, what is, like, are these towns, are they colonies? Are they states? Are they, are they independent governments? If they're not independent, if every town, every island in the world falls under one specific set of government, like, how come there's no anything? How come the only bit of actual official anything I see is just, there's just random, like, oh, we have the Marines. It's like this weird, almost like they're the Empire. Stormtroopers are just kind of everywhere. So, and I'm not saying this stuff doesn't get explained. This isn't about like, this anime sucks because it never explains anything. No, I'm saying this anime has not explained much of anything in 60 goddamn episodes. That is 30, 20, 22, 25 hours, give or take. In 22, 25 hours of footage, because I'm cutting off, intro, outro, cutting that off. Within 20 to 25 hours, I have gotten almost no clear cut idea of how this fucking world operates or works. So again, my review of One Piece is that it's frustrating because I generally like the setting. The characters have not grown on me yet, which is kind of, I don't hate them though. I'm like Zoro's cool, Nami's cool. The other three, like, it's like Zoro and then Nami, only because Nami has backstory a bit. And then Sanji kind of below that, and then Usopp and Luffy at the bottom. I like Zoro just mostly because he just doesn't talk as much. But But yeah, it's just frustrating, and part of me is just like, I should have just read the manga. I feel like I might have gotten into this a little quicker, faster if I was just blitzkrieging through the manga, because I could probably read up through Alabasta in a day, in a few hours if I was reading the manga. But no, I have to watch. The agreement was 120 episodes. So I'm judging it as a TV show. I'm judging it because in 26 episodes for a different anime, we are introduced to Jet, we are introduced to Spike, Faye, Ed, Ein, Vicious. We understand everything about how that universe operates between the syndicates and the ICP, or ICCP, and how humanity spread to the stars, even though it's never sat down and explained to you. It's just kind of like you just pick it up as you go along, and then you can, if you want, you can pick up little clues here and there, and you know everything about the world of Cowboy Bebop in 26 episodes. We are introduced, we grow to love, and then we mourn the loss of our main character. Characters, Ed and Ein leave. Spike can't let go of his past, catches up to him. We know everything. We get this fucking perfectly encapsulated all. We're introduced to an entire world. It's organizational structure, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. We're introduced to everything we need to know, and it is finished brilliantly in 26 episodes. I am 60 episodes into One Piece, and I don't fucking really feel much of anything, and I'm still completely clueless as to how any of this fucking shit functions or governs. And that's the frustrating part, because it's not bad. It's not like, oh, this is shit, I don't want to watch it. The animation is shit. But guys, you don't have to delete messages, dude. I know as much as characters. I actually don't believe that's true. I actually don't believe that I know as much as the characters, because I feel like Sanji and Zoro and Nami, they probably know way more about how the Marines function and work than I do. So it's just frustrating, because it's like I'm torn between, like, I'm a little intrigued by what's I kind of am intrigued, like I'm usually, when I'm getting really burnt out, like they introduce something just neat enough to, like, sort of like, all right, I'll hang in for a little bit, I'll hang in for a little more, and then just something comes in and sort of like saves it or teases it, oh, okay, let's see where this goes, I guess. But yeah, it's mostly just frustrating, and now the worst thing I could say is none of these characters are endearing yet. I see the potential there. Like, I see, and again, this goes back into the frustrating part, where it's like, I can see the potential of these characters becoming really beloved, but the anime is just so goddamn slow and trudging about getting to that point, that it's like, it's frustrating. I did get a list I could use, but like the list literally like said, like the only episode in East Blue I could skip was like somewhere in the 40s or something. I don't remember which one. But yeah. And here's the thing, like, oh, you're watching fillers, you shouldn't watch fillers. A great anime should be great, filler or no filler. Because there's a couple irrelevant episodes, even in, Bebop is very episodic. But, like, there are some episodes that are more episodic than others, like, more pointless than others than Bebop, right? And they're all good. Like, that is, I'm sorry, but, like, the mark of a great anime is when you're entertained watching filler. Like, obviously not all the filler in Dragon Ball is good, obviously. But there's stuff in Dragon Ball. I've never watched Dragon Ball, but there's an episode in Dragon Ball I've been made aware of where Goku and Piccolo have to go get a driver's license, and the episode is them taking a driving test. That's fucking funny as fuck filler, right? So, an anime should be great regardless of, and I feel like One Piece is trying to set itself up that it's like Witcher 3, where the side quests become so in depth that you forget you're in a side quest. And I feel like that's what One Piece kind of tries to do. It's like, look, we don't have a giant major central goal. Okay, we're not like, there's not this big overarching plot, like this big thing that needs to be conquered, acquired, reached or whatever. Because we keep it vague so we can go off and do these long side stories, like, getting this old dragon back to its nest kind of thing, right? Like, I feel like One Piece is trying to very intentionally be a little open with what's happening, so they can specifically go and do these long form side quests. So yeah, I see what it's trying to do. The problem is the animation just sucks so bad, and the characters are taking a little too long to endear themselves or make themselves useful. Like, here's a frustrating example: is like Usopp has done this multiple times. Even when in his own little mini arc, and I actually liked Usopp more in the beginning than what they did with him after he joined the crew. I like the weird little dynamic of how he would tell tall tales to the rich girl in the window, and then how he used to always like cry wolf, and he was like had this belief his dad was going to come back, little Jim Hawkins thing going on there. But then when he joins the crew, like he's still like, there's never the Usopp gets inspired. One episode later, he's back to being the little bitch ass coward he always is, and it's like, can you motherfucker, you killed a fish man. Like, for fuck's sake. Like, we should. Why do we keep defaulting onto him being like, oh, like this stupid scaredy cat every fucking time? Like, he gets scared of something. He gets scared of like, oh no, there's Marines there. I'm like, motherfucker, you killed a fish man. Like, it's like, why are we still like this? And then he gets Carly, and he meets Daddy the Parent, and he has a whole fucking episode dedicated, to being re-inspired by his story of Daddy the Parent's duel with Yasopp. And it's like, when is that inspiration ever gonna fucking take hold in you? Like, yeah, when does the character development actually develop? When does the character development stick? When does it fucking stick? Like, it feels frustrating. Like, I'm sorry, you won't like this, but it feels a lot like episode fucking 8 in Star Wars with Finn, when they were just like, I don't know what to do with fucking Finn, so I'm going to just revert him to literally back to square one. Thank you, Rian Johnson. Revert Finn back to square one so he can go do this dumb side quest and have this whole, I gotta run away, go through his Shinji arc again. Because you don't know what to fucking do with the character. You don't want to develop him. And that's kind of what feels like what's happening with One Piece characters in 60 fucking episodes, is that we're basically running circles, we're treading water on this thing that like they did with Finn's character in Star Wars Episode 8. It's like, oh, he went through this big arc, he stood up to fucking Kylo Ren. Like, Finn should have been the one to kill Kylo Ren. I'll just say that right now. If you wanted to make Star Wars interesting, you should have had Finn, like, eventually at some point be the one to fucking murder his ass. But it's just kind of like, man, if there was actual like sticking development with these characters, I think I would like this anime a lot more. I think if the animation was a lot better and development actually feels like it's stuck and things were trimmed way down, this would actually be a really fucking cool anime. This would be a pretty fucking awesome anime if the animation was better, if the pacing was way trimmed down, and if character development actually stuck, and if they were better about sort of explaining what the fuck's going on. If that was all there, this would be a fucking really cool, and that is why My review for One Piece is frustrating. It's fucking frustrating. Because you see the fucking potential and this thing just keeps fucking like, it's like, it keeps chasing its own tail. It's like you have a dog that, you know, like you have a show dog that can literally win, you know, awards, you know, for going through obstacle courses or whatever. And then when it comes time to do it, but what's it really doing? It's just sitting there chasing its tail in a circle. And it's like, we literally see the potential there. And why aren't you, why? So yeah, that is I think the problem with One Piece. It's frustrating because I can see where something really cool is here, but it just doesn't want to do it. And my other takeaway is I should have just read the manga. Because even if the manga is paced terribly, at least the art will, you know, it's just art. I'm just looking at art, and at least I can read. I'm a good fast reader, so I can just read through this shit. Breaking weapons are. He's not even awake. He won't watch this. He won't watch this review, will he? Again, all things being fair, I don't think this is a bad anime. In fact, I think I truly think there is potential here for something really, really cool here. But it just refuses to do what it needs to do.